What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report President's Day Show edition. I'm going to be out of town at the end of this week, and we'll talk about that kind of in and out of the show. But I wanted to get a live show in this week, so came in on the off day with producer Nick Roloff. So everyone clap it up for producer Rolly. He volunteered to come in with me today, so no Patrick Seatman behind the ones and twos, but Rolly is definitely a six-man off the bench when it comes to producers. So before we get into the show, and we've got an extra long show for you guys planned, I want you to represent your hometown. Let me know where you are watching from. I'm going to give shout-outs to everyone who chimes in the chat right now. Shout out your city. It's always one of my favorite questions we ask during the live show because I think it's always fun to see how far and wide Browns fans span. Browns backers are all over the place. So let me know where you are watching from today. We got Ty Man the Buckeye in here. Wolf Stand Killer is in Ohio. Jarrett Roush is in Decatur. Robert's coming in from Oklahoma City. I like it. Jake's in Sacramento. Lil Heath in Kansas City. J-Dog in North Carolina. Michael Warnecki is in Illinois. John from San Diego. Josh working at home, as always, in Michigan. Stephen Wargo from New Mexico. Matthew Hancock from the UK. That's where I'm going to be at the end of the week, going on a week-long vacation with my girlfriend to London. So, unfortunately, we're going to have video still. Don't worry about that. I'm doing a whole bunch of work before I get in the plane, pre-filming a bunch of stuff, but you might see a different face or two on the channel over the course of next week, so don't be alarmed. Once I come back, we'll get back to normal, but we will have a bit of a unique break, a unique week, if you will, of some pre-recorded videos. So hopefully nothing gets too dated, but the nature of the NFL industry is news keeps on coming in. All right, appreciate you guys tuning in for a Monday show. I know we usually do this on a Thursday, but we had to adjust for the calendar. But let me know, with it being President's Day and all, and this should not get out of control, who is your favorite president? Let me know your favorite president down in the chat. I try to avoid politics on the show, but I think we can all have a calm discourse about a favorite president. Producer Rolly, I know you're a big history buff. He comes to trivia each Tuesday. Do you have a favorite president?
I don't care enough. I'm the least
very intelligent and political savvy of you.
Least political person maybe of all time. I'm just gonna go with a classic. Let's go with Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, can't go wrong with number 5, Abe Lincoln on the bill.
Abe, the best thing. Hold on, I was gonna say something. Abe Lincoln. There's a restaurant from where my hometown is in Rochester, New York, called Abe's.
I like it.
Elite spot.
Good burgers.
It's like Bill Gray's, but cheaper.
All right.
You probably don't know what Bill Gray's is, do you?
It's not really ringing any bells right now.
Yeah. Tom Walls? You know Tom Walls?
Just get with the point here.
All right. So I have no comp any of you guys would know anymore.
Yeah.
So we're just going to scrap it and move on.
I'm seeing a lot of Trumans, some Reagans. That's good. I like it. Trump coming in from Jake. Steven with Truman. All right. If I had to go with a favorite president, Lincoln's not a bad choice ever. Lincoln's a good Mount Rushmore to literally a Mount Rushmore to fall back on. Could I go with Teddy Roosevelt's pretty badass.
Roosevelt's solid. There's always the OG.
Bay of Pigs didn't work out well, but Teddy Roosevelt's pretty cool.
Got the OGGW.
Yeah,
so
yep, Georgie.
Can never
He's
go
good
wrong
at his
with
job.
George.
Like George.
David says Ulysses Grant.
Okay, I like it. 18th president. There we go. Favorite president. Let me know in the chat right now. So, with that being said, we are going to get a little closer to kickoff for today's show. We got 4 segments for you guys today, so an extra one for the people. But we will talk a little bit of draft, and I want to know, who is your top draft target? It is February 20th right now. That puts us at just over 60 days away from the NFL draft kicking off at the end of April. Never too early to start looking at the draft. The reason why I ask this is the Combine is coming up in a few short days. So who are you looking at, right? The Combine, in my opinion, is number one overreaction stuff, right? There's one, we are grading all of them without pads on, which I think inherently is just kind of dumb. Why? Because you don't play football without pads on. So why are we grading people on speed when they don't have pads on to begin with? 2, I always hate the videos of people like running a mile with a quarterback, throwing it 60 yards with no shoulder pads and no defender in sight. Cool. Like, they all can do that. The good ones do it with a man in coverage. So for that reason, I'm never a huge run with storylines from the combine. But if there is one thing that does come out of the combine that's actually relevant, it's the first time all the GMs get together. And a lot of them actually make deals during the combine that just don't get announced until the new league year starts. Russell Wilson got traded during the combine last year, more or less. Literally, that is where the trade compensation, the details got ironed out. It just wouldn't be announced until a couple of weeks later. So I do like the combine for that. AFX Apocalypse, I knew you'd be in there, but hit me with a Stetson Bennett. We were talking about this today. Do you think, what's more likely? Stetson Bennett gets drafted, which I am in the camp of he will not, or Anthony Richardson goes top 10. Both quarterbacks suck in my book. Rolly?
So I was going to ask you, how do you think Stetson Bennett will perform at the combine?
He's going to be awful.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
That speed might be on full display with the 40.
No, he's going to be slow. Stetson Bennett, come on. My personal nightmare right there.
AFX says he's going to get drafted to the Browns.
Matthew Hancock, Zay Flowers, or Josh Downs. Both those guys, in my opinion, are going to benefit from the combine. When they get to put their speed on display, they're going to start rising up some draft boards. I'm a big Josh Downs fan. I know you are too. You're a UNC football fan.
Yes, sir.
He's good at football.
Going to be a stud.
He's good at organized football.
He's going to be an absolute stud in the slot. I saw a comp say Tyler Lockett. I think Josh Downs is more shifty than Lockett, but Lockett would be a better deep threat.
Josh Downs really fits what the Browns need. He works out of the slot primarily. He's a speedy guy. He's twitchy. Something the Browns just don't really have in their wide receiver room. I would like Zay Flowers or Josh Downs. Both of them are great to me. Oh, I shouldn't have even mentioned it. Who watched the XFL over the weekend? I caught some highlights and whatnot of it. The XFL, it happens every year. We all get drunk on the first weekend of it, and then it tapers off a little bit. But XFL, baby, could it be real this offseason? Could this be the first time anyone actually cares about a secondary pro football league? Here is our Super Chat menu today. We haven't got a Super Chat yet, so if you want to be the first, here's our off-season Super Chat menu. Every single Super Chat, we do a wheel spin. We'll explain that when the moment comes. $2, give me your draft or dream free agent target. We'll break it down on the show. $5, we do a Here We Go Brownies chant. $10, we drink out of the dog bowl. And $50, you get to pick, or I get to pick, your Browns player comp. And moving forward, anytime you super chat, we'll throw that on screen for everyone watching to see. So this is our off-season Super Chat menu. If you like the free content and you want to show some love, show some support to the channel, this goes a long way, believe me. Now, we've got a fun show planned out for everyone today, including a mailbag as always. So if you've got some questions you want answered, use hashtag Browns, or you can super chat. If you super chat, you just guarantee a spot on screen. As we got one flying in from Jarrett Roush and Josh Miller, back-to-back soupies. I love it, guys. I love it. There we go. You guys realize we have a second rounder? Oh, now I can't read. And then Jacob with another super chat. Here we go. $10 super chat from Jarrett Roush. We got the photo. We'll throw it on screen, too. Yeah, producer Rolly was like, what do these photos mean? And I gave pretty in-depth answers on each one and why they were picked. So a $10 super chat from Jarrett Roush. He is the Braylon Edwards of the channel. Why? Because when he pops off, it's not going to be necessarily a 90-yard score, but he's got it in him to go for over 1,000 yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns in a season. Braylon Edwards, that is our Jarrett Roush of the show here. So cheers to you, Jarrett. Appreciate the super chat, my friend. We'll do all the wheel spins at once. Joshua Miller with a $2 super chat. We got a picture for Josh as well. Is Bryce Young this year's Zach Wilson? No, because Zach Wilson, remember, wasn't that high up on draft boards when the season ended. He really rose when he stopped playing college football, which is always weird to me. So this year, Zach Wilson, like someone who skyrockets despite not playing in 4 or 5 months, Anthony Richardson would be that guy. If if his arm talent, size, and speed are on display as pro day and at the combine, he could be that guy. I don't think there will be a Zach Wilson, literally not nobody, but from lower profile to second overall pick. Joshua Miller, though, the Phil Dawson of the channel. Josh, thank you so much for the super chat. You're the man. We got some more to catch on, and then we're going to dip to the next segment here. No, Shay and Apocalypse. Absolutely not. Jacob Kistner with a $2 super chat. I want the first super and spin that wheel. You were close. We'll give you a bronze medal. But, Jacob, thank you so much for the super chat. We'll spin that wheel in just a moment. We don't got one for Jacob. No worries. $48 away, though, from Jacob getting his own Browns player comp. JD Shirk with a super chat. How about Jaden Reed? Let me look up Jaden Reed because I'm trying to remember. He had a cool stat about him, and now it's escaping me. The Michigan State receiver, what was I reading the other day about him? I'm not going to remember. Oh, well. Okay. I saw something on Jaden Reed, and I was like, I can't remember. But regardless, Jaden Reed, if the Browns don't get a wide receiver in free agency, then actually backtrack that. If the Browns get a wide receiver in free agency, Jaden Reed in rounds 3 or 4 could make some sense for the Browns. 3 seems a bit high still, maybe 4 or 5. But if they do not attack a wide receiver in free agency, I think that second or third round pick has to go receiver, and I don't think Jaden Reed is the move there. JD, thank you so much for the super chat, though. Now, let's get the wheel on screen here. Every single super chat, we spin this wheel. There are 2 shot funds on it. That's the beer shotgun tool we have. If it lands on it, I'm doing it. If not, if it lands on no shot fund, we remove that layer from the wheel, and the odds of getting a shot fund just increase one by one. So we've got 4 wheel spins, I think. Let's spin them up. Here we go. Before we start the show, some wheel spins here. There's 25 options in total. Not nervous. Little. No longer nervous. Okay, there we go. So that one's out of the drawing. Last week when we did this, it hit on the shot fund on like the 5th time or something. Okay, here we go. 3 more, including this. Not nervous. I was never nervous. Well. Yeah, never nervous. Clear. 2 more.
This is an interesting concept. You could just send in $2 every time, and you're going to get very close.
Apocalypse, he's 30. We had a fun surprise birthday bar crawl for him over the weekend. I got to text Mitch happy birthday still. I'm going to do that right now, actually. Okay, 1 more. How did you know it's his birthday, though? That was rather impressive. This is the last ones. I text Mitchell Renz. Happy birthday.
This one flirted with it.
Okay, closer.
Flirted with it.
Okay, I texted Mitch happy birthday. Thank you for the reminder. Oh, Shay said it. Okay. That's it. Moving on, though. Every super chat, we spin this wheel, and we remove whatever it lands on. So here's what we got coming up on today's show. As always, a breakdown of the latest news and rumors. I like today's latest news and rumors roundup. I've got 5 moves the Browns could make to clear cap space. This has been just a shadow that people have been chasing to understand what the cap situation is for the Browns. And I'm going to do my best job to convey it in 8-year-old English level, because the cap can be weird and very, very confusing, even for myself. Even once you think you know the cap, you really don't. Plus 5 trade candidates for the Browns. If Andrew Berry decides he wants to get more picks and he wants to trade away some players, I've got the 5 most likely options, and then a live Q&A at the end of the show. Use hashtag Browns or Super Chat. If you already Super Chatted a question, you're going to be included. Don't worry, you are grandfathered in. Rolly, do you have something you want to ask or chime in with?
Yeah, before we start today's show officially, AFX, I know he's a real one. What's wrong with Falcons Today by Chat Sports?
AFX, he's a real one. Rolly does Falcons Today. He came over for the day, so he took that as assault.
Yeah, I mean, you're hitting home real. I've been a diehard Falcons fan since I was 5 years old, so.
Okay, let's get started with the first segment on today's show. It's a complete breakdown of all the latest news and rumors on your Cleveland Browns. So, Rolly, whenever you got the green light for us to get this show started, just let me know. And we've got a fun show planned out, an extra segment, like I said, so it might go a little bit longer than usual. Stick with us. We got plenty of ground to cover. Rolly, we got a green light? All right, here we go. Let's jump into a live Cleveland Browns report. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with one quick PSA. Today's show was filmed during our live show on President's Day. I'm going out of town at the end of this week, so if something has changed or sounds a little bit odd based on some new rumors or news coming out, just stick with us here. But we are going to recap the latest on your Cleveland Browns with some interesting little stories out there amid the NFL offseason. Starting with this. Should the Browns be in the business of signing Yannick Ngakoue? Is it a possibility? Is it realistic? I'm going to give it 2 Bernie heads. I don't think it's very polarizing yet, right? We're far from a 4 or a 1. I went with 2 because Yannick Ngakoue is a free agent at a position of need for Cleveland, which is defensive line. And when you hire Jim Schwartz, who relies heavily on that defensive line, you could see Schwartz getting in Andrew Berry's ear and pushing for a guy like Yannick Ngakoue. Now, today's story starts with an article that we got from Mary Kay over at Cleveland.com, as she included Yannick Ngakoue as a free agent target for the Browns on the defensive line. Ngakoue turns 28 years old in March, so he's still got plenty of good years left in the tank. Pro Football Focus last year, not very nice to him. They ranked him 109th out of 120th, which, if you ask me, is a bit outlandish. I didn't think he was the 109th best defensive end in football, especially when he went off for over 9 sacks. But we know how PFF is. It's great when it fits your agenda, and if not, well, you disregard it. But here's the exact quote from Mary Kay's article that she asked or was answering during a mailbag she did. At end, Colts edge rusher Yannick Ngakoue would be an excellent addition. He had 9.5 sacks in 2022 and wouldn't come cheap, but he'd be a perfect complement to Myles Garrett. Yannick Ngakoue has played for, or he will at least in 2023, his 5th team in the last 4 seasons. You look at Ngakoue's stats the last 4 years, he's been good. He's been very consistent. Originally with Jacksonville, went to the Vikings, traded to the Ravens, then goes over to the Raiders, then gets traded to the Colts. He's yet to really find a home outside of his start with the Jags. He has just been traded from one team to the next. Now, when it comes to the financial element of how much would it cost to sign a guy like Ngakoue, Spotrac does contract projections, which I somewhat disagree with, but we'll use them as sort of a baseline. They think he's going to get a 4-year, $59 million contract with an average of $14.8 million over each season. I'm guessing he's going to get more than that. He's been a near double-digit sack guy for the last 4 seasons, and edge rushers coming at a premium, salary caps going up. I think he gets closer to $20 million than $15 million. But be the GM, would you want to go out and sign Yannick Ngakoue? Type Y for yes or N for no. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'll give you mine in just a moment. At the end of the day, I don't think Andrew Berry is going to want to go spend close to $20 million for another edge rusher. He's already paid Myles Garrett the highest of all defensive ends in football. And I think he wants to find someone that sure can complement Garrett. Don't get me wrong, but complement him and not cost that much money, right? I think a lower level signing in the neighborhood of $8 to $12 million is probably in the cards for the Browns this offseason. Now, Jim Schwartz is definitely going to be bringing this up during meetings in the free agency in the offseason. The Browns sack leaders in 2022, pretty downright awful and embarrassing after Myles Garrett. Taven Bryan coming in second with 3 sacks, and Deion Jones, who only played half a season for Cleveland, coming in third with 2.5. This has to be a major area of improvement and focus, and I am sure Jim Schwartz is going to tell Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, if you want me to be successful, I need better edge rushers. I can't just rely on Myles Garrett. But I think there's a limit. There's a line in the sand, and that line in the sand is probably what Yannick Ngakoue is going to get in free agency. I just think the Browns are going to address this issue. They're not going to roll into next year with just Alex Wright, Chase Winovich, and Isaiah Thomas as their 3 edge rushers. But I don't think they're going to overcorrect with spending top dollar for Yannick Ngakoue. I think lower level moves like, say, the 49ers edge rusher, Samson Ebukam, that would be a more appropriate measure of what Andrew Berry would want to spend in free agency at defensive end. Now, listen, anytime a Browns free agency news or rumor story comes out over the next couple of weeks, we'll break it down here on the channel, which is why you don't want to miss out, and you won't when you subscribe. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, hit the bell icon, turn notifications on. That way, when the Browns start making offseason signings, you won't want to miss a thing. You'll get the video, you'll get the news alert, and you'll be staying informed. Let's move on to our second segment of the show now. Should the Browns trade for Adam Thielen? This has been talked about in the comment sections and Twitter replies, kind of scraping the barrel here, but I'm going to give it one Bernie head for a couple of reasons, ranging from his play has declined to, most importantly, you don't have to trade for Adam Thielen if you want Adam Thielen. Just wait for the Vikings to cut Adam Thielen. So this was brought up in the comment section originally, like I said, and he has been rumored to be a Vikings trade/cut candidate. The Vikings are kind of in cap hell right now. They're next to the Browns. It's not something that's too deep of a hole to dig themselves out of, but Thielen might be on the way out of Minnesota. And I think if the Browns were really adamant and hell-bent on getting Adam Thielen, they would just wait for him to be released by the Vikings. They would not give up draft capital and take on his contract, which I'm sure he'd agree to a pay cut to make a trade go through. But if they were really that adamant on him, they'd wait for him to get cut, which I think he will be. Now, he did overlap with Kevin Stefanski in Minnesota for quite some time, so Stefanski knows Thielen, and I'm sure if he wanted him, he'd vouch for him, and he'd tell Andrew Berry how he would fit best in his offense. But if you were to trade Adam Thielen before June 1st, here's what the salary cap implications are. His dead cap hit for Minnesota is $13.5 million. The cap savings is $6.4. His base salary is $11.8 million. Now, unless he agreed to restructure his contract and AKA take a pay cut, no team's going to want to pay him nearly $12 million to be their wide receiver 2/3, depending on their roster. Now, Thielen, the stats the last 4 seasons, here's how he's shaked out. Last year, 716 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's still a very good red zone target, which I'll talk about more in just a second. But he has somewhat come down to earth from that crazy breakout, absolutely out of nowhere stretch he had from like 2017 to 18 and into 19 a little bit, although he faced some injuries in 2019. I think Adam Thielen would bring a great red zone presence to this Browns offense, but he's not going to bring a good enough red zone presence for Andrew Berry to want to give up a draft pick and pay, at least for now, in the neighborhood of $12 million. If he takes a pay cut, that would change things. But still, if they really wanted Adam Thielen, I think they'll just wait for him to get cut and not give up a draft pick for him. Before we get to our final segment on the show, there's this awesome Browns retro shirt right now at Fanatics that I'm crazy about, and I wanted to share with you guys. Go to chatsports.com/CLE shirt, which, by the way, that link for everyone is in the comments and the description of today's show. It's a really cool Browns retro shirt that's on sale. I think with the spring right around the corner, if you're looking for an awesome Browns shirt to wear to a Guardians game or just wear out and about, this could be a great one to sport. So our third and final segment on the show here. Should the Browns be looking into extending Donovan Peoples-Jones this offseason? Is it likely? No, I'm going to give it one Bernie head. I don't think it's fake news, but I can't give it much more than one Bernie head. Not because DPJ isn't worthy of a contract extension. He was really good last season, but the Browns are pretty financially tied for 2023, and they're not rushing to extend players right now. They're rushing to get out of their salary cap sticky situation. Now, rumors have been circulating about DPJ and a possible extension this offseason because once you finish your third year of your rookie contract, you are eligible for a contract extension. His base salary for this upcoming season is a very nice $2.7 million. Something Andrew Berry wants to keep it at. He's not looking to break the bank for another player. He's been a little bit busy the last calendar year spending a lot of Haslam's money to the tune of $230 million to Deshaun Watson, $100 million to Denzel Ward, and trading for Amari Cooper's $100 million contract. I love DPJ. This is not an anti-DPJ part of the show. This is a realism part of the show. Now, his career stats, we'll throw them on screen for you guys. He's coming off an excellent season. 839 yards and 3 touchdowns. He is just getting better and better by the season, and he is really starting to grow into a real wide receiver too. But the Browns, in my opinion, are just too far into the red this offseason in terms of cap space to give out more money. They are going to wait, my guess, until maybe mid-season extension. They did that last year, remember, with Bitonio and Teller. They did it with Nick Chubb during the preseason a year ago, or 2 years ago now, I guess you could say. The point being is, Andrew Berry has a lot of ducks to get in a row this offseason to get him back into the green for the salary cap. My guess is extending DPJ and shelling out more bucks is not going to be towards the top of his priority list. I do want the Browns to extend Donovan Peoples-Jones. I just think mid-season next year would make more sense in 2023 mid-year. But if you want the Browns to extend DPJ, if you want the Browns to keep Donovan Peoples-Jones around for the long haul, spam his jersey number 11 down in the comment section below. Show the guy some love. That way he knows the dog pound has his back and wants to keep him by the lake. It's time for my new favorite growing segment, and that is Name a Random Browns Player. This one comes in from Steven Wargo, who commented wide receiver Quincy Morgan. And that's a random Browns player for sure. Remember, he was traded to the Cowboys for Antonio Bryant, yes. And Morgan wanted to go back to Texas, and Bryant wanted out of the Cowboys after getting into a fight with Bill Parcells. Memory's a bit foggy on the situation. I'm sure some of you old-time Browns fans can fill me in better. But he is definitely a random Browns player. Had one really good season, and that was pretty much it for him in Cleveland. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in and making us a part of your day. I'm going to sign off and see you guys later with more Browns content throughout the offseason. So keep it tapped in right here. I'm seeing a lot of 11s coming in. I love it, Ty Man, the Buckeye. That's my man right there. There we go. Frost Kitten, give me an 11. I like it. Brown Tiger. Is this the real Brown Tiger? Why are we on a Monday? I'm going to be out of town, going out of town on Wednesday if you guys want the whole itinerary. Flight number will be in the chat soon. But I could do the show on Thursday then. I wanted to do a live show still. So I got Nick Roloff to come in on President's Day on a holiday for us and put together a quick live show. So clap it up for Rolly for coming in on his day off, making this possible for us here. But Spam 11, everyone that spams it, I like it. Jarrett Roush, I think it's an imposter. It has to be. Jonathan, good to see you. Ryan Chowdhury's here. I love it. Jarrett Roush, give me 11. Preston, give me an 11. There we go. Here's the Super Chat menu. We wanted a couple Super Chats fly in before we started the first segment. Every single Super Chat, we spin the wheel, and, well, I'll leave it as a surprise to what it lands on. $2, give me your draft or free agent target. We'll break it down. $5, we do a Here We Go Brownies chant. $10, I drink out of the dog bowl. And then $50, you get a Browns player comp. And anytime you super chat in the future, we'll throw that on screen for everyone to see and really show what kind of legend you are here at the channel. So that is our off-season menu. Am I getting... This isn't the real Brown Tiger.
I'm a little confused as well. I don't know what to make of this, Petey.
I haven't seen Brown Tiger in a little bit. So I'm also a little bit concerned. Brown Tiger, shout out your college in the chat. And that will...
Oh.
Because I know Brown Tiger's college.
Interesting.
And if you're a real imposter, like, you should know it too. A good imposter would know that. This is a baseline right here. If not, we've got our answer. And then we'll go to the next phase of questioning here. Because, we all do. I know. So he should know it. Okay. So that's our off-season super chat menu. If you feel like supporting the show, goes a long way. Really can't explain just how appreciative we all are here at the Browns Report for any contributions and donations you make.
We have an answer.
If you would check. I checked the comment section. I haven't seen Brown Tiger in a minute, at least for a live show. That's what I've really been getting at here. Okay, we have an answer. I got to show it because for whatever reason, YouTube held it.
Is it right or wrong?
It's right. And then he added some like extra credit with "You suck, Tennessee," because he knows I went to Tennessee.
So this is the real Brown Tiger?
I think it's got to be.
What's the next round of questioning?
The next round of questioning would have to be... I'm trying to say it because it's a good question, but I can't think of a way of saying it without it like giving away the question. We'll leave it at that. The Scooby-Doo hunt will go on. I'm dubious about this. I know Brown Tiger's hometown state because he said it before when we do that. So that's my shout out your state, and then we'll know. Shout out the state you're from, and we're gonna get a little bit warmer and warmer.
Jared's asking, how do you get on the poster?
We don't have the poster anymore. We reset for next year.
But
we gave it away, but
he's asking Brown Tiger.
Okay, that's real Brown Tiger. That's it.
All right. Why is you got the mountain bike at the end?
Oh, okay. I like it. Okay, Jared, you're right. I should have had more faith in you because you knew the poster situation. That was dumb of me. What's that?
Let's ask Brown Tiger why he's got mountain biker at the end of his name now.
Yeah, that is new. I did not know. We're learning something new about Brown Tiger today. Didn't know. Is bad for branding. Okay, let's get ready for the next segment because we're going to lose people soon. The off-season menu, though, if you feel like super chatting, by all means, feel free to knock yourself out. Okay, take a quick swig here. What's that? A random? Oh, yeah. New hobby, Josh? I agree. I'm not a big mountain biker. I think it's pretty obvious that my activities, my hobbies, do not include mountain biking, snowboarding. One of my biggest stressors in life is watching the videos of people snowboarding and skiing and going off the ledge and free falling and landing. You know what I mean? I don't like that at all. I don't know how anyone finds enjoyment in doing that. I'll say this.
I am horrible on snow/ice, which I'm from the north, but I just do not like it.
Yeah, not a fan. Okay, all right, here we go. So the next segment on today's show is going to be all about the Browns cap space situation. It's a little bit confusing because the salary cap's confusing. So I'm going to do my best to try and break it down to Michael Scott 5-year-old level lemonade stand. So with that being said, Athletic Greens is our sponsor. We on the ball for that? Awesome. Let's do it then. Coming up on today's show, I'm going to break down the Browns cap space situation. It's confusing to say the least. You're going to hear, and you probably have already heard, a lot of a wide variety of takes and opinions on solving this issue. So I'm going to do my best to, be Oscar and bring it down to a Michael Scott 5-year-old level and break this down. And let's start with this. The Browns' current cap situation. Where are they at right now? Well, as I film right now, which, by the way, is on February 20th, I'm filming before I go out of town for London when you're watching this potentially, the Browns are currently $13 million in the red. They're negative 13. They've got to find a way to get it back to zero before the new league year starts. They are projected, in my opinion, to go around $30 million. I think somewhere between $30 and $40 million is in the ballpark of where you can expect the Browns to be. How are they going to do that? How are they going to flip about $45 to $50 million in cap space to get from negative 13 to $30 to $40 million in the green? Here are two moves they could do. I don't agree with all of them, but they could. Release John Johnson after June 1st or Amari Cooper after June 1st. The Johnson one I can get behind. The Amari Cooper one I absolutely cannot get behind. I do not see the logic in moving on from Amari Cooper, your best wide receiver by a country mile, when wide receiver is already a position of need. But he would save you a good chunk of change. So that would be the reasoning and the logic behind it. Now, as for John Johnson, he fits the mold or the niche of the perfect blend is the word I'm looking for, of good savings, but not losing a major quality player here. Here's what I mean. When we compare John Johnson to Amari Cooper head-to-head, if they were both released after June 1st, we'll throw it on screen. Here are the numbers for you guys. John Johnson, 2023 dead cap hit, $3.75 million. This is after June 1, which you can designate, like Austin Hooper last year. The cap savings, though, that's the one that everyone cares the most about. In 2023, $9.75 million for Johnson. For Amari Cooper, $20 million. Cooper's cap hit this year is $23.7 million. John Johnson's, it's $13.5. So there are considerable more savings with Amari Cooper, but you'd be giving up a very valuable player on your team. Let me make this clear. I do not, N-O-T, want to cut Amari Cooper. I don't see a situation where that makes sense. The Browns need help at wide receiver. Cutting Amari Cooper does not help that issue. There are other ways to get out of the red and cap space and back in the green without giving up Amari Cooper. Now, when it comes to John Johnson, this kind of goes for myself. I think we're a bit hard on Johnson as a player. We're all really quick to just say, cut him, cut him, cut him. I think he's a little bit better than we probably give him credit for, but I think the savings of nearly $10 million for a post-June 1st release are just too good to pass up on when you can roll with Grant Delpit, who really emerged, and a cheaper or a rookie safety or even DeAnthony Bell for 2023. Now, if you had to pick one player to keep, who would it be? Cooper or Johnson? Personally, I'm going Amari Cooper, but let me know which player you would rather keep down in the comment section. Now, the next way the Browns can make some cap space, it's very confusing, but at the same time not confusing, restructuring a contract, okay? I'll break down what restructuring Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson's contract could mean in just a moment, but today's show is sponsored by Athletic Greens. Now, I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I recently gave AG1 a try because I hated taking pills/vitamins and wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. It really helps me with starting my day on the right foot and getting into a healthier lifestyle. I start the day with making one great choice, AG1, and more healthy decisions then follow. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix one small scoop of water with AG1 and drink it first thing in the morning. It's done. I also like that it costs less than $3 a day, which is pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients, so win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. The link for everyone is in the comments and the description of today's show. It's got awesome benefits like gut health, supporting your immunity, and boosting energy as well. Links down below. Make sure to pay them a visit. You won't regret it. Now let's return to the idea of restructuring contracts. What does that mean in English? What does that mean in layman's terms? Here's a definition from Over the Cap, a great salary cap website. A simple restructure converts payments into prorated signing bonuses within the confines of the remainder of the contract. Teams typically have the ability to unilaterally execute simple restructures without any action necessary from the player. In English, you take the base salary for this season that they have, and you divide it by the years left on their contract, and that is prorated over signing bonuses. In even more English, it lowers their cap hit for this season, 2023. It raises future cap hits, though. So, at some point, you got to pay the piper. The money doesn't disappear. At some point, if you owe them this much money, that money is going to get paid. But why do teams do it? Why do teams kick the can down the road if at some point they have to pay anyway? Two reasons. One, the salary cap goes up. In 2013, the salary cap was about $123 million. 10 years ago, we're now well over $200 million, and we're going to be at $300 million probably in 2 years or so. Yes. So the salary cap keeps going up. Well, kicking the can down the road, it's just going to water down that contract hit. What might be an astronomical cap hit for this year, in 3 years, that cap hit, that percentage against your cap, it's going to be diluted because the cap just keeps going up. The other reason, you do it with players that you view as long-term pieces. You don't kick the can down the road on players that you might end up cutting. People often reference the Saints. The Saints did that with players that weren't long-term pieces. And so eventually when they want to get out of their contract, well, they are left with this huge dead cap hit. The Browns are banking on Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson of not being players they want to get out of their contract in 2 or 3 seasons. Unlike some guys maybe like Wyatt Teller or Nick Chubb or John Johnson, right? Garrett and Watson are in their own tier. If you restructure Deshaun Watson's contract for 2023, you can max out at $33.6 million in cap savings. That's a big chunk of change. Myles Garrett can come down to 12.1. Yes, you are kicking the can down the road. You are not eliminating the problem. You are delaying the problem. The positive is that the size of the problem is going to be a lot smaller in future years as the cap keeps going up. And if you want, you can always extend their contract, spread it out over more years. Players I could see getting contract extensions for the Browns, absolutely. Deshaun Watson and Myles Garrett, at least a lot more likely than other guys like Amari Cooper or Wyatt Teller, older guys who maybe you don't know for certain are going to be there for the long haul, but Watson and Garrett, those are cornerstone pieces. Other players at positions that are replaceable, not as much. Now, we're trying to reach 18,000 subscribers by free agency, so help us get to that goal. If you haven't subscribed, it would mean a lot here for us to reach that milestone by the time free agency kicks off. So make sure you hit that big red button and subscribe. All right, moving on to some more ways the Browns can clear cap space. They can cut wide receiver Jakeem Grant, and they can cut offensive lineman Joe Haeg. Joe Haeg and Jakeem Grant are 2 prime cut candidates, in my opinion, that fit 2 boxes, or check 2 boxes, rather. They are not essential to the Browns, and they have a decent cap hit that could alleviate some room and make some space here. Here are 4 players that, if released before June 1st, could actually get you a good chunk of cap space. Jakeem Grant, $2.2 million. I know it might sound like a lot, but you pair that with Joe Haeg or even Harrison Bryant or Jordan Elliott, you move on from 3 of those guys. I think Jakeem Grant is a bummer what happened. His Achilles injury was a huge downer, and they really needed him on special teams last year. But at the end of the day, Jakeem Grant and Joe Haeg, they're not vital to the Browns in 2023. However, I do think clearing almost $5 million in cap space would be a lot more beneficial. So in summary, I'm going to go down the line here, some napkin math. If you release John Johnson after June 1st, you clear $9.7 million. You restructure Deshaun Watson, you get $33.6. You restructure Myles Garrett, you get $12.1. You cut Jakeem Grant and Joe Hay, you get 4.2. That's a grand total of just under $60 million at 59.6. That's if you do all those things. You don't have to do all those things, but it just goes to show, relax. Take a deep breath. Andrew Berry is not in a shitstorm here. It's not a huge hole to climb out of for the Browns to get out of the red and still have a good amount of money to spend in free agency as well. This is just going to show, yes, it's not necessarily ideal to be in the red. That's intimidating. It's a debt. It's a deficit. But you can get out of it with some easy maneuvers that aren't damning to your team and aren't going to hinder the abilities to be successful in 2023. Super chat coming in from Brown Tiger. When I woke up today, before I even read this, I was really thinking, I hope Brown Tiger comes to the live show. I haven't seen him in a minute. I'm just waiting on my guy DeAndre Hopkins to come to the land. Yes, I'm not going off the topic. Change last part of my name because I love mountain biking. Fair enough. You change your profile picture too. So you gotta own both those things. That was pretty. There's a lot for me to take in. I'm a man who's not like change. So when you do both those things, my brain's not ready for it. But Brown Tiger, cheers to you. A dog bowl because I haven't seen you in the live chat in a while. Missed you. Was hoping everything was okay. Cheers to you. Oh, a $2 super chat.
Also saying he got it because he got a new mountain bike. Is that it in the picture?
I think you got to grade the mountain bike. I'm giving it an A+. Without knowing anything about mountain biking, if it comes from Brown Tiger, it's got to be good quality stuff right there.
I'm going to assume it's the new profile pic, too. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Has to be. Ryan Chowdhury with a bazillion F-pits in the chat. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. We got to spin the wheel 2 times for Brown Tiger. So every single super chat, we spin the wheel. And if we land on the shot fun, I'm doing a shot fun. So here we go. Rolly, send it across, and let's spin that wheel, baby.
Before I spin the wheel.
Yeah.
The wheel just spoke to me.
Oh, boy.
And I think we're going to get one with these 2 spins.
It'd be very, very story-esque for Brown Tiger in his return.
I'm sitting right next to it. It just spoke to me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it just gave me a look.
Young Sky, I love it. Oh, boy. This is going to be close.
It's flirting with it, man.
Wow. The volcano is starting to rumble, right? The locals are saying something.
It's time to get out of here.
Yeah, the shaman, whatever it is, like, hey, there's smoke coming.
Yeah.
Time to clear out. Not a time for Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang to go over there. Oh, it's clear. Okay. I was nervous there. You got in my head a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
Well, I mean, it told me that it was coming soon, so I assumed it was that one.
So we got Frost Kitten in the chat right now, a Steelers fan trolling. Rolly, you know that I love trivia.
Oh, boy, let's do some trivia.
I got some quick trivia for you. Last team to win a playoff game in Pittsburgh.
I think this one's very easy. It's the Cleveland Browns.
It's the Cleveland Browns. Thank you for coming on down. Good answer.
Good answer.
So, just going to plant that fact right there. Last team to win a playoff game at Heinz Field before they changed it to an awful Acrisure. The Cleveland Browns. That's gonna marinate. That's going to sit there for a while.
In 20 years, they're going to ask, who is the last quarterback to win a playoff game at Heinz Field?
Yeah.
And it's going to be Baker Mayfield.
It will be indeed. It will be. What a great start to that game. All right, that's the offseason menu, though. We got 2 more segments. We got a mailbag next. So use #Browns or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, you guarantee a spot on screen with a question. But if you want to just go #Browns in the chat, by all means, knock yourself out. Producer Nick Rowley will just pick questions somewhat at random, ones he likes the most. I don't know. You have to ask him what the criteria is. But we need some more questions. So get that #Browns in the chat right now. And Rolly's laughing in my ear right now. So use #Browns. Get those questions in. Young Sky, I wore it in front of my Cowboys family, and let's just say no one was happy to see me in a Browns jersey. I love it. I got an Amari Cooper jersey last year because at the time I sat across from our Cowboys Report host here at Chat Sports, Tom Downey, just so he could see Amari Cooper on the Browns and how dumb and stupid the Cowboys were for trading him for just a 5th-round pick. So get those questions in, #Browns. Ryan Chowdhury getting one in there. Brown Tiger, I love it. Appreciate you, Brown Tiger. That's another wheel spin. Show Brown Tiger's picture. Let's get Brown Tiger's picture up next, too. Yes, the profile picture is the mountain bike Specialized Stump Jumper EVO Comp. I hope that's the name of the mountain bike, because God knows I have no idea what that means. But Brown Tiger is the Joe Hayden of the channel. Just an absolute pillar and foundation of the mid-2010s, early 2010s Browns that unfortunately got away. Never should have been letting get away to Pittsburgh. But Joe Hayden, absolutely beloved. That is our Browns player comp for Brown Tiger. Thank you so much, Brown Tiger, for always supporting the show. We got some more picks, more questions coming in from Preston, from Joshua Miller. 2 more questions, and then we'll start the mailbag. Let's do the wheel spin. #Browns if you got a question about free agency, the draft, trades, anything you've heard or seen and you want some more clarity on, #Browns, and we'll answer it for you. Okay, here we go. Who doesn't love Joe Hayden? I don't know. Dumb people. All right, get those questions in. Oh, no, I'm good. Every super chat, we spin the wheel. See if we land on the shot fun. Okay. We got a couple. We got enough to get ourselves through. All right, Rolly wants 2 more questions, so get those questions in. Javon Kinlaw for a possible signing. He's not a free agent, but we'll talk about it still because the 49ers are, I'm pretty sure, Javon Kinlaw. Yes, because, one, he's been a bit underwhelming. Yeah, he's still got 1 more year left on his contract. The 49ers probably won't pick up his 5th-year option, so he could be a trade candidate. We'll rephrase it to that. We need 1 more question. 1 more question, Ryan Chowdhury. No belly shots. Belly shot should be the positive version of polar. Okay. Josh Gordon, he had a touchdown. Ben DiNucci with like a Mahomes flip to Gordon. It was pretty good. Do you have an XFL team, Rolly?
No. But if I had to root for one, it would be Josh Gordon.
He's on Seattle's team.
He's with DiNucci. So Seattle.
What are they called? Dragons? Sea Dragons?
Yes. Good call, Petey. Good answer.
No big deal. No big deal.
Answer.
I know ball. I know XFL ball. I think I'm actually blanking on the team name. The Vipers. Their logo is straight. It's straight porn. Go look at the Las Vegas Vipers logo. It's pornography. It really is. Good answer. Ryan Chowdhury with a question. DPJ trade for weapons. You see it? It's straight out of a Las Vegas strip club. Oh, yeah. Look at that V.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Uh-huh. Okay. We got some more questions coming in. Keep the #Browns rolling. And I think we're ready to take this plane off the ground now. So we'll jump into the mailbag. #Browns with Super Chat, like I said, for 1,000 times. And we will answer the questions you guys got on today's show. We got the mailbag, L3. At the top. If you didn't bring it over, it's no big deal then. I thought I moved it over. Not at the top? Okay, then it's okay. Here we go. We ready? Okay. Let's answer the questions you guys got on today's show. Mailbag time here at the Cleveland Browns Report. Matthew Peterson answering the questions that were asked during our live show, which was on Monday, President's Day. Had to pre-film this bad boy because I'm out of town for a stretch. So if things have been dated or tweaked a little bit, well, you know why. But I wanted to get some content for the Dog Pound while I was out of town. So just bear with me here. But let's start the mailbag off with this super chat coming in from Brown Tiger, an absolute staple of the channel. I'm just waiting on my guy DeAndre Hopkins to come to the land. Yes, I am not going off the topic. Changed the last part of my name because I love mountain biking. So, you like mountain biking. But more importantly, DeAndre Hopkins to the Browns, if that trade goes through, you got to be happy about it. You got a very good player. You got a top 10 wide receiver, in my opinion. DeAndre Hopkins as a player doesn't necessarily fit what the Browns need, in my opinion, at wide receiver. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. The Browns need a speedy slot receiver. That's not Hopkins. He's got a great history with Deshaun Watson, and it would be awesome. It'd be a Madden offense of Cooper, D-Hop, Watson, and Chubb. That's plenty to get excited about. I just think you can be a bit more calculated with your moves, and you don't have to give up a big draft pick to get them. You can instead take that draft pick, use it at a younger wide receiver potentially, or you can find a cheaper option in free agency. If it does happen, I'll definitely be pumped about it. I just think they don't have to absolutely swing for a home run at wide receiver. I think a nice shot down the third base line, gets past the hot corner, would get the job done. Ryan Chowdhury next up on the show. Who is our non-division rival, in your opinion? It's a good question. Right now, the big ones in the NFL have to be Chiefs-Bengals. That's probably the biggest non-division rival. For the Browns, I think it's got to probably stay in the AFC family. Not really an AFC South team that jumps out to me. AFC West, depending on your age, maybe the Broncos would make some sense. But that was before my time. AFC East, not the Patriots. I'm really hating the Jets after last year, so that's going to be up there for me. The Bills' proximity, but not really. I like wings in Buffalo. So I guess I don't have a great answer. I'm going to pencil in. The Patriots have had the Browns number for a while. NFC teams, nothing in the North, nothing in the South, nothing in the West. Maybe you guys have a better answer for this question. Biggest non-division rival, I'm going to go down with the New York Jets because of that dumb onside kick. All right. Ooh, we got a burner coming in. Here we go. I love it. Guardians baseball right around the corner. Thoughts on drafting Drew Sanders at 42? This has been a name that I think that's really risen up draft boards, and I think he's only going to get more love as we get closer to the NFL draft. I'm talking about the Arkansas linebacker Drew Sanders. In 2022, he had 103 tackles. That is crazy amount for a college player. 9.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. I forgot where I saw it, but some have comped him as Micah Parsons light, meaning he can be an inside linebacker, he can be an outside linebacker, he can be an edge rusher. He's just a football player and a darn good one too. The Browns don't have a glaring need at linebacker in terms of sorry, that's not true. It's not their biggest priority. They've only got JOK, Phillips, and Fields under contract. They've got to add more players there. But if they draft Drew Sanders, it might not be a pick that feels like it's filling a big need for 2023, but you're getting a good football player for a long time. I'd be excited about the pick. But be honest, who is your top draft target for the Browns? Let me know in the comments section below who your number one guy is. For me, in the balancing realistic options at 42, I'm a big Josh Downs guy out of UNC right now. Young Sky, next one up on the show. Javon Kinlaw, possible signing. So Javon Kinlaw, former first-round pick out of for the Niners, is under contract for 2023. San Francisco has to decide whether or not they want to pick up his fifth-year option like Jed Wills this offseason. I don't think they will. He's been a bit underwhelming. He also has struggled staying on the field. Now, the Niners do have a lot of mouths to feed coming up soon, and Kinlaw is probably going to be someone who does not get a second contract from San Francisco. If the Niners want a draft pick for a guy they don't see long-term with them before they let him walk in free agency, maybe trading for Javon Kinlaw could make some sense. If you think you could acquire him for cheap because the Niners are thinking, listen, we know we're not picking up his fifth year. We're probably not going to be able to pay him when his contract is up after his rookie deal. Let's get something for the guy now since we lost a bunch of picks for McCaffrey. I could see that happening. And if that's the situation, raw impression, Kinlaw, first-round guy, so it's a big-name target. Stats haven't always been there. But I'm open to giving Jim Schwartz more weapons at defensive tackle. If it comes at a price of a 5th or a 6th rounder, sure, why not? Joshua Miller, what's up? If Ty Boyd becomes available as rumored, should we consider a major area of need? I don't know what the Bengals are going to do with T. Higgins. That's where this question has to start. If they move on from T. Higgins, if they trade T. Higgins because they know they can't pay him in free agency, well, then they're probably going to hold on to Tyler Boyd. But if they pay T. Higgins, then I could see Boyd going. And if that's the case, yeah, Boyd brings a lot of speed to this offense that is very much needed. So if Boyd is surprisingly cut by the Bengals, which I don't forecast happening, I'd be all in on Cleveland bringing him in. Before we get to more questions, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We don't just do mailbags here. We break down the latest news and rumors. We talk about free agent targets, draft targets, everything under the sun related to your Cleveland Browns. So don't miss a thing by getting subscribed to the channel. What's up? Question coming in from Baker's PR team. Oh, where were they? One fateful night at the parking lot of, well, I think I've said enough already. Knowing how they panned out this year, would you have pulled the trigger on Hunt and Greedy in a trade? I've got to be honest. I was very adamant against trading Kareem Hunt before the season last year. By the trade deadline, when I saw the way he was being used in this offense and how he had fallen off, I would have traded him for a 4th or a 5th. Sounds like the Browns were bent on, or was it a 4th? They would not budge on. They never got that call, so they never moved on from him. Yeah, it's a bit of a mistake holding on to Kareem Hunt and Greedy Williams, looking back at it now, especially because Greedy was a healthy scratch for a chunk last year after starting the year off on IR and Martin Emerson being CB1 on this team. Hindsight's 2020. Always good to have depth. Plus, in the moment, the Browns didn't know for sure they would miss the playoffs, and they didn't want to move on from quality players. They're going to lose them to free agency. If they don't make any big-time signings, they could get a comp pick for them, so maybe a long shot, though. All right, question coming in from Centrion. Trade for a slot corner. I don't think so. The Browns traded away a slot corner last year in Troy Hill. If they truly valued that position as a spot where they would go out and give up a draft pick for someone, they probably would have held on to Troy Hill. So Greg Newsome emphatically said no to playing slot in 2023. Let's see how that changes once he has a sit-down with Jim Schwartz and he outlines his plan and his scheme and his plan of attack for this upcoming season in this defense. If he can't sell Greg Newsome then maybe you approach that slot corner position differently. But for now, I don't see Andrew Berry doing this type of trade. Before we answer the rest of the questions you all have, I got to tell you guys about this really cool retro shirt, in my opinion. It's on sale at Fanatics. When you go to chatsports.com/CLE shirt, I've put that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show. So make sure you check it out. Ryan Chowdhury is the next one up on the show. Chubb for DeForest Buckner and a 2nd. No. For a lot of reasons. Ryan, I like you a lot, but why would the Colts trade why would the Colts trade for Nick Chubb when they have Jonathan Taylor? Not going to happen. Just DeForest Buckner for a 2nd, I'm in and I don't hesitate. Without a doubt. I like DeForest Buckner as a player. I know 2nd-round picks are vital to keeping things young and cheap for a roster, more than just hoping you hit on that pick. But Buckner, win now window with him, I'm all in, baby. This next question comes in from When Will It End? Who is someone that we should be talking more about for pick number 42? Ooh, I like this question. Someone that might get a bump from the combine. Trying to think of a couple of guys out there on offense and defense. Let me see. One name that comes to mind as someone that could rise is Keanu Benton, the defensive tackle out of Wisconsin. He was awesome at the Senior Bowl. He turned a lot of heads, and he is a defensive tackle that's really good that the Browns need, right? The Browns need a defensive tackle, and Benton could be that guy. I don't want to try and sound super simple when I say this, but like that checks what you're looking for in a draft. You need a defensive tackle. Benton seems like a guy who's rising up draft boards. He could be a name to watch for, especially coming out of the combine if he performs well there. Now, speaking of Wisconsin, shout out your college. If you're still watching right now, get into the comment section below and let me know what your Saturday team is. Of course, I always roll with my Tennessee Volunteers, my alma mater. Let me know what your college team is, whether it's Ohio State or another school out there. AFX Apocalypse. Should we draft Ronnie Bell? Just start hoarding all the Michigan wide receivers. I'm not opposed to it. Ronnie Bell missed most of, basically all of the 2021 college football season. He was good for Michigan in 2022, but we all know Michigan's offense was relatively one-dimensional until the last 3 weeks of the season. Run, and then run again. So Ronnie Bell never really got an opportunity to showcase his skill set, but I think Ronnie Bell could be a fun round 5, round 6 gadget-type pick. Better Demetric Felton, we would hope for it, probably. Another question coming in from Ryan Chowdhury, the last one. Donovan Peoples-Jones trade for weapons? No, you don't trade Donovan Peoples-Jones for 2 reasons. 1, he's ascending. 2, he cost you a bag of pennies. He's getting paid $2.5 million this year. $2.5 million for a guy who had nearly 900 yards last year. You don't pass up on that type of value. So you're keeping DPJ. If anything, I'm extending DPJ midseason. Appreciate the question, though, Ryan. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in and making us a part of your day. We'll see you guys later throughout the week with more Browns YouTube content right here at the channel. Keep those college shout-outs coming in. Uh-oh. I just saw AFX Apocalypse's question. I'm already scared. Josh, University of Kentucky, go Vols. You know, I'm not even all that upset about Kentucky sweeping Tennessee this year. That's loser talk because I'd rather them lose bad games now than in the tournament. You know what I mean? Kind of get that out of your system. If that counts for anything, I'll go with it. Jonathan, great show. Thank you. Show's not over. We've got one more segment still. A 4-for for the people. 4 for 4 menu.
4 for 4, baby.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a Wendy's guy, but is 4 for 4 the greatest creation of all time in the fast food industry?
I've never been I like the 4 for 4 menu.
It's just so nice. You get 4 nugs, you get a nice little burger, you get the
Here's
fries,
the 4
you get
nugs.
the drink.
Here's a hot take. Ready? It's a fat man take right now. 4 nuggets is setting yourself up to be sad because you're going to run through them so quickly. You're going to think, what was the point of getting 4? I want 10. Now I'm just sad because I'm out of nuggets. You're going to be sad. That's my take right there.
Listen, it's not a bad
AFX
take.
Apocalypse. If Stetson Bennett goes to the Browns, I will get a Stetson Bennett jersey.
I'm
not getting a Stetson Bennett Georgia jersey. I hate Georgia. No, if he ends up with the Browns, it's only fair. I will get one for you. Don't worry. I'll get one for you and one for me. How about that? We can match. Here we go. Keep out those. Bowling Green coming in from Pac-Man's Army. I like it. 40 tacos for Frost Kitten. I like Taco Bell. Don't love. I think it's like. What are we doing here? We're talking Taco Bell on the show right now.
I agree. It's like not love.
It's like not love. It's like not love. All right, the off-season super chat menu. Every single wheel spin, every single super chat, we spin the wheel. Haven't landed on a shot fund yet. Might be the one that gets us there if you super chat next. $2, you give me your draft or free agent target. $5 is a here we go Brownies chant. $10, we drink out of the dog bowl. $50, we give you a Browns player comp, and you got it for the rest of the Cleveland Browns Report life, and we'll throw it on screen every single time you super chat.
Before we get into the last segment, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know the big Stetson Bennett thing.
Yeah.
He gets drafted by the Browns.
Meltdown. Immediately.
What if?
On the floor.
What if he eventually becomes the starting quarterback, leads the Browns to a Super Bowl? Tattoo, yes or no, of Stetson Bennett?
Do we win the Super Bowl?
Yes, you win.
Okay. That was big.
You win the Super Bowl.
Yes,
Stetson
and
Bennett's the
Stetson
quarterback.
Bennett is the quarterback of the Super Bowl Cleveland Browns. Tattoo Stetson
You
Bennett.
get a little picture of Bennett.
Yeah.
His little face, thumbs up.
Yep.
Go Browns.
Yep.
On your thigh.
Uh-huh. We got Soul Train super chatting. Great to see Soul Train in the chat. Haven't seen you in a minute, my friend. University of Toledo. I love it. Okay, Soul Train. Will the Browns trade the second back like last year? Remember last year they traded with the Texans. They moved back from, they were at 44 off the top of my head, and they went back to 68 to get Martin Emerson. Yes. If they get an offer, I could see Andrew Berry pulling the trigger on that again. Why not? He did it last year. He doesn't have a first-round pick this year, and he has shown us that he's not afraid to trade back and stockpile picks rather than swing for the low 40s. Not having a pick in the second round last year was a bit boring on draft day, so out of selfish reasons, I'd rather they stay at 42, so at least we get to feel like we're kind of a part of the fun, right? You're like, no one wants to be the guy that's like, no, we didn't pick till 68. Like, that's a long time to wait to have fun on the draft. So I'll go with they don't move back, but it's very much a real possibility. Soul Train is the Alex Mack of the show. He is just a sturdy and formidable wall at the front that if you want to get through to the channel, you got to go through Alex Mack. We got 2 wheel spins coming up after a $5 super chat coming in from Nicholas. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. A guy I like late is Tajir. Oh, yeah, Spears from Tulane. I feel like he could be a do-it-all weapon this offseason desperately needs. Everyone fell in love with Spears after the Senior Bowl. He was the #1 offensive player, really the #1 player. He was great coming out of Tulane. I'm not opposed to it, right? You got to replace Kareem Hunt. The Browns' running back room has always run with a 2-back set with Nick Chubb for the most part. So if they don't think Jerome Ford's ready for that workload and they don't think Dearness Johnson's that guy, and if Spears is there in round 4 or round 5, yeah, sign me up. I'm in, buddy. We'll do all the wheel spins once we get through all the supers. Joshua Miller with a $2 super chat. Siaka Ika or Josh Downs at pick 42? Bit of a cop-out answer for me. It is dependent on what they do in free agency. Let's assume they don't get a home run at either spot, and so the need is still relatively the same. I'm going to go Josh Downs. The reason being is I don't think Ika is all that great of an actual player. Like, I think Downs would be higher up on a big board. I just think Ika fits more of a position of need, and there's not that many great defensive tackles in this draft. So I'll go Josh Downs. We got how many wheel spins? I think 3? 3 wheel spins. Here we go. The shot fun gets bigger and bigger by the wheel spin. Oh, this is going to be bad. This is the one. Fuck.
This was the one! I told you the wheel was talking to me and said it was coming soon. I thought it was the last 2 spins. It just had to be the first one on this one.
Damn. All right, pass the shot fun over, please. Damn. Okay. I was not.
Do the Bud Lights fit?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
Question. In honor of President's Day, if you could drink a beer with any president, who would it be? Can I get the trash can, please?
Yeah, drink a beer
Drink
with
a beer with any president. Who would it be? Is it missing?
Did we get hijacked?
We got hijacked. Can you steal one from another room, please?
Yeah.
Because when I take it out, I got to put it somewhere.
I will say, before I leave and go get it, the answer to that question...
Today, Junior?
I'm going to go George Washington.
Okay.
It's because I bet he'd have some great war stories.
First off, Washington spent about 30 to 40% of his salary on alcohol.
Exactly.
Paycheck, straight to the liquor store.
He would
drive-through liquor, horseback liquor.
That means he would have no problem getting me the liquor.
You get fucked up. Okay, here we go. You get the trash can. I'll shotgun the beer. Just plop it up here when you're done, please. Okay, here we go. Shotgun for the super chat. Nick goes with a $5 super. Thank you very much. Here we go. I'm ready. We ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Cannonball. Cannonball coming.
How bad was the coldness?
That beer's been sitting out for a little bit, so it actually didn't, completely skull fuck me.
Were you nervous at all about it exploding?
No. For some reason, this thing explodes on some people specifically. I'm not one of them.
Well, just for the Browns fans at home watching, I am one of them. It happens all the time. Only when I do beers. When I do Happy Dads with another guy in the office, Marshall Green, it works out fine. When I do Miller Lights, they explode.
Okay. We got three more wheel spins. First, Nicholas. Excuse me. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. Also, the Browns hate me if Tank Dell is available in round 5 and they don't draft him. Yes, I don't think he falls that far. The Houston Cougars wide receiver. No. Yeah.
He is so fast.
He's fast. Fast as fuck.
Very shifty.
He's not going to be there in round 5. If he is and they pass on him, Nicholas, you, me, Pitchforks, Berea. We're there. $5 super from Brown Tiger. I know you really don't care for the XFL, but will you actually give it a chance Saturday and Sunday games to watch it and just make your opinion then? I don't feel that strongly. I don't hate it. I just think that every year, every time a new football league comes out, it's a little bit fun initially, and then we all sort of fall out of love with it. I'm out of town this weekend, and I definitely don't think I can somehow convince Shay to watch XFL football in London. NFL, well, we wouldn't be out of town if it was NFL football, but football guy. But XFL, that's going to be a tough sell. Imagine explaining, put the XFL on at a pub in London. Like, you mean the NFL? No. It's got an X. They're the same. It's worse.
Oh,
Is Paxton Lynch in it? He got benched. Oh, Mike.
Oh, Chelsea Liverpool on? No.
XFL, baby.
XFL.
But at some point, I will give it an honest report, Brown Tiger, and I'll come back and report to you. Okay, we got some more Super Chat wheel spins to do here. We still got one more on there.
We got 4 spins.
4 spins?
Counting.
Not even nervous in the slightest. Spin away.
I think that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Because here comes back-to-back. Oh.
Was never nervous. Never nervous. Never a doubt. Here we go.
3 more.
Did someone ask who my favorite artist was? I see Shay answering that, Tom Petty. I do love Tom Petty.
No, someone said, like, instead of having a beer with the president, it was Kimberly Hurst.
Oh.
How about someone cool like Tom Petty?
Okay. I love Tom Petty. Learning to Fly, top 5 song of mine all time.
But going back to the London XFL thing, imagine trying to explain to someone who never watched football, we're watching Josh Gordon right now, but you'll never believe how good he was about 8 years ago.
Yeah. Where were you in 2013? Because...
Sit down. Ready for this?
Yeah.
This might have been the best wide receiver of all time.
Uh-huh.
Last one.
Not even phased. It has a 0% chance.
Yeah, this one had no close.
Yep. Not even phased in the slightest. There we go. Jay Wade, what's up? So, we do have one more segment, believe it or not. We're going to talk about trade candidates for the Browns. Joshua Miller with a super chat. Let's go, Josh. Yeah. We'll spin the wheel really quickly for Josh because we got it up on screen right now. And then we'll put Josh's super chat up. But this isn't going to hit anyway. Or it might. No. Never in doubt. Okay, Joshua Miller with a $5 super. Is there a player worth moving up for and parting way with a bit of draft capital if they start following JOK style? So, if that happens, I think there have to be 2 criteria met. It is a player that they believe on their big board, they got him all ranked. If they got him ranked 25 and he's there at 35, right? They're like, all right, he's 10 units down from where he should be. And it's a guy that is a big need position-wise. Say someone like Jackson Smith and Jigba, who no one really has a good hard read on where he's going. I think he's going to be a little bit like George Pickens of this year's draft class. Some think he could be not Pickens maybe, because some think he could be the first receiver gone. Some think he's a wide receiver in round 2. You don't see that very often. From first one off the board to pick 45. Jackson Smith and Jigba could be that type of player, though. After doing nothing his freshman year, he's just a freshman, no biggie. Breakout sophomore year, awesome Rose Bowl game. A lot of injuries in year 3. Maybe he kind of goes that Pickens route of injuries sort of clouded over him, and you can get him for a bargain in round 2. That would be the guy, Josh. Great question, though. Thank you very much. Now, let's do this thing. Let's talk about some trade candidates for the Browns. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. Coming up on today's show, I've got 5 trade candidates for the Browns. If Andrew Berry decides we need to get more draft picks back, and the best way to do that is start unloading assets and retooling a little bit and just kind of shifting and pivoting Ross Geller style, well, I've got 5 guys in order of likelihood, in my opinion, that could see that go down. Today's video, by the way, was filmed on President's Day. By the time you're watching this, I could be out of town. I took a week-long vacation, so if things change a little bit, well, now you know why. But let's run through the Browns' 2023 draft picks. They've got 8 in the chamber right now. They're not on the clock until pick 42 of round 2. Now, for the record, I believe Andrew Berry is perfectly fine going into the 2023 draft with 8 picks. I don't think we all have to start panicking and start thinking trades are coming. They don't have a first-round pick. They're definitely making a trade to get more picks. No. In fact, last year, they didn't have a first-rounder, and they traded away their second-rounder. So if he wants more picks, I think trading back would make more sense than unloading assets in a win-now type of mode with how much talent is on this roster. But nevertheless, we have candidates because the NFL is unpredictable. So let's start in order of likelihood. Number 1, it's Greg Newsome. This has been a hot topic name when it's come to Browns rumors and whatnot over the last month, and in my opinion, he would be the number 1 trade candidate for the Browns. Could Cleveland look to try and get some assets for a guy who is their more or less third string outside corner? The top 2 jobs belong to Denzel Ward and Martin Emerson. So if Newsome says, I don't want to continue playing on the inside, maybe Andrew Berry looks this as an opportunity to get some assets back for a player who maybe isn't playing all that much on the field, and they could get a guy on the field who would be playing a lot more if they flipped Newsome for a pick. Now, when it comes to Newsome's stats, I think we talk so much about Greg Newsome getting traded because he's just the odd man out right now. We kind of forget he's a good player still. We're not talking about trading Greg Newsome because he's been underwhelming or he's been bad. Yeah, he doesn't have a pick yet, but Greg Newsome is a really solid corner, in my opinion. Is he a first-round talent through 2 years? Not really, but can he get there? Absolutely. Now, if I had to pick a trade idea of what would make the most sense in a realistic world, what about Greg Newsome to the Falcons if they wanted to give A.J. Terrell someone to pair up with? And in exchange, the Browns get Atlanta's 45th overall pick, and the Falcons get Greg Newsome and a 5th rounder. That way, Atlanta still has the same amount of picks in the draft, but now Cleveland's got the 42nd and the 45th overall pick. So be the GM. Would you trade Greg Newsome? I think at the end of the day, I'm not trading him unless I am blown out of the water with an offer that I can't refuse. For a second rounder, yes. Anything less than that, no. I'm going to keep Greg Newsome for the depth because you never know when/if, but mostly when Denzel Ward likely gets injured and you need another cornerback. And we are coming from the Andrew Berry school thought of you can never have enough corners. So for that reason, I bet Berry holds on to Newsome. But if a team calls and offers the 36 overall pick in the draft, tell me you're not thinking about it. All right, let's move on to our next trade candidate. Coming in at number 2, it's safety John Johnson. He's at number 2 for a mix of reasons. One is if the Browns get any sort of offer at all, I'm sure they'd be happy to engage in trade conversations because they want to get him and his contract mostly off their books. At the same time, the rest of the league knows this. So he's probably not going to garnish a ton of trade attention in this upcoming offseason pool because the teams really wanted John Johnson. They'll just wait for him to get released before they make a trade. Now, the Browns didn't wait for Amari Cooper, but it only cost them really a 5th rounder. So maybe a team views a similar situation with John Johnson. Now, Johnson's played 2 years so far for the Browns, and here's his stats as a Cleveland Brown. 162 tackles, 5 for loss, 9 pass breakups, and 4 interceptions. A bulk of those great stats came in 2021. 2022, bit of a down season. Now, when I think of trade destinations for Johnson, one team comes to mind, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. If they don't re-sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson or Marcus Epps and let him walk in free agency, maybe they view Johnson as an opportunity to get a starting caliber safety. Not an ideal contract, but they've got money. They're not far in the red if they are at all. And it's a late pick round swap, kind of like Amari Cooper, because word got out, hey, we know you're going to cut him. Get something for him. We'll give you a 6th, send us a 7th back, and we'll get a deal done. Now, our third trade target today is Wyatt Teller. I would not want to see the Browns trade Wyatt Teller. Wyatt Teller is an awesome offensive starting guard in the NFL. But I have heard some talk and some buzz about if the Browns were going to pursue a big wide receiver trade for someone like DeAndre Hopkins. Could they toss in Wyatt Teller in a trade package to try and bring down the compensation required to get someone like DeAndre Hopkins? In 2022, PFF ranked him the 18th best guard in football. Now, if Teller is traded before June 1st, financially it makes 0 sense because you extended him last year. His dead cap hit, $23 million. Cap savings, that's not a typo. It's negative $7.6 million. Base salary is $12.5. That's what a team would be taking on if they traded for him. Now, if you wait till after June 1st, you get to split that dead cap money over 2 years. So it goes down to 15 for this year, 7.5 for the next year, no cap savings at all, and the base salary is the same. Again, from the financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense. I don't see a way this goes down, really, unless the Browns are adamant on getting a top-tier receiver for Deshaun Watson, but they don't have a first-round pick to give up, and they figure, well, what if we bundle Teller and a pick to make it happen? Teller had a bit of a down year in 2022. If we're talking about him between the lines, he had some bad injuries, and I think it's pretty clear now that at the end of the year, he was playing through a lot of tough injuries. I would like to hold on to Wyatt Teller. One, I just don't see a way they can pull this off when you just extended him last year. Too quick to move on from. But also, he's a really good starting guard for this team. I like to keep good players on the Browns. Now, if I had to think of a trade idea, this is the one I was kind of referencing earlier. What if Andrew Berry goes, it's my life mission to get DeAndre Hopkins for Deshaun Watson? And the Cardinals say, cool, conversations start when you've got a first-round pick. Well, if Andrew Berry turns it back with, what if I hit you with Wyatt Teller and a third-round pick? That way you get Kyler Murray some better protection, and you get a third-rounder. I don't think Hopkins should or will go for a first. His contract and his age is a bit of a downer, but I think if you toss in Teller, you could bring down the draft pick compensation required. At the end, it'd be hard to not agree to a trade that sends D-Hop to Cleveland, but I am in favor of keeping Teller on the Browns. Now, if any sort of trade does go down, we'll be breaking it down here at the channel, which is why you can be a part of the Noti Gang. The Noti Gang are those of you that have your notifications turned on and are the first ones in each video commenting down in the comment section. So be a part of the Noti Gang. Don't miss a thing. Hit that notification bell icon, select notifications to all, and you'll be tapped in all off season long because free agency, the draft, trades, that's going to bring a lot of news at inconvenient times sometimes, but we'll keep you guys informed and entertained. Moving on to my fourth trade candidate, and I already hate myself for even entertaining this idea, But at some point, I feel like I have to find a balance of not wanting to talk about trading Nick Chubb, but knowing that there is a contingency of people out there that do want to discuss trading for Nick Chubb. Now, or just trading away Nick Chubb, rather. In order for a Nick Chubb trade to go down, I think Cleveland would have to be blown away with an offer they can't refuse to move on from one of their best players when they are trying to win now. It really makes no sense unless someone swoops in with a first and more and the Browns go, we just can't pass on that type of offer. But here's the thing. Come on in. No one's going to offer a first rounder for a running back anymore. Thanks to Trenton Richardson, those days are done. Now, Nick Chubb's contract is about $12 million a season. That's not too much for a team to take on. Christian McCaffrey didn't even go for a first, and the Panthers were rebuilding. The Browns are not. They're just not going to get an offer that is worth accepting. That's where we continue to kind of talk past each other when we discuss the idea of Chubb getting traded. Sure, if a team offers a Herschel Walker package, they'll take that trade, but no one's going to. So why are we wasting our time here? But if we keep it continuing for the rest of the guys here, the trade idea, if there was a team to give up a first, I think it'd be the Bills. The Bills kind of give me a sense of really big sense of urgency to win right now. Like their hair's on fire, and they'll move on from a late first rounder for Chubb to form, all the players and have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Nick Chubb. So a first and a third for Chubb and a fifth would be what I think a trade could look like. But that trade offer, it's never coming. Fifth and final trade candidate is Denzel Ward. I've got him number 5 behind Nick Chubb simply because financially it's next to near impossible to trade Denzel Ward this offseason. Remember, Denzel Ward signed a 5-year, $100+ million extension just last offseason. He had a bad 2022. PFF ranked him 18th out of 118 qualifying players. His 2022 stats, 53 tackles, 1 for loss, 15 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. But we all know that Denzel Ward did not look and play like a top 2 paid cornerback in the NFL. The end of the day, though, the dead cap hit, it's just too high. If you want to talk about trading Denzel Ward because he's injured and he was underwhelming last year, I get that. But you have to keep in mind what a trade could possibly look like and how much it would cost. The dead cap hit is just too high to move on from. It's insurmountable for just one season. And the 2024 dead cap hit is still pretty high at $27.7 million. That's manageable, but it's still far from ideal. What could a trade look like? If for whatever reason the Browns were adamant on having to trade Denzel Ward away, maybe the Cowboys pick up the phone and call if they want to give Diggs a corner on the other side of the field. So here's my trade idea. A first and a fourth for Denzel Ward. I think that's likely the trade compensation, but again, his salary, it just makes him impossible to move this year. So as fun, or I should say fun, as much as you may like to dream about trading Denzel Ward because he always misses some games and he had a bad 2022 season, just ultimately the conversation has to end with the contract when you give someone 5 years, $100 million is too big to move on from after one season. But when it comes to Denzel Ward bouncing back in 2023, what's your confidence level at? Scale it 1 to 10. 10 being you think he'll be back to a Pro Bowl type of corner. 1 being it'll be the same, if not worse, as 2022. I want to be optimistic, but more importantly, I've got some reasoning behind it. I'll go with a 7.4 because Jim Schwartz is going to come in there, and hopefully he's going to best utilize Denzel Ward and the rest of the corners and get Denzel Ward to what he was drafted to do. In man, on an island, with his speed. So I'm going to go with Denzel Ward bouncing back at 7.4. Let me know where you're at down in the comment section. Super chat coming in from Josh Miller. $2 super. What round does Andrew Berry draft a corner? He loves his CBs. He does love his cornerbacks. 4th round. No, 5th round. They got 2 5th-round picks. One of those will be on a cornerback. I'll go with the 5th round for that. We got another $2 super chat from Joshua Miller. Let's go, Josh. What would Petey do if he was president for a day? It's a good question.
This answer will determine a lot, too.
I mean, am I supposed to answer this with, like, political lens or Browns lens on right now?
However you view this question is how you should answer it.
You ready?
Yeah.
I think a statue might be built for me for this answer.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait. I thought that was the answer.
No.
Okay, you got me.
Ready? I sign into law, which doesn't work that way, but still. Executive order. Chick-fil-A is open on Sundays.
Oh, interesting.
And the re-election campaign starts then.
Interesting answer.
Maybe a pretty good one right there.
A lot of people, I saw Josh Miller actually ask this question before he super chatted it, saying he thought you would have just said day after the Super Bowl national holiday.
That's a better answer. I concede. Josh, I'll be your running mate now. I'll be the VP. With our ideas like that, like people go up to debates and like, what are you planning about the national debt? We'll put a pin in that. How about the real issues facing Americans right now? No Chick-fil-A on Sunday? Crime. We'll mandate it.
Ready for this better answer?
What's that?
Tomorrow, you're president for a day.
Yeah.
Executive order.
Executive order.
Every single person in the United States must subscribe to the Browns Report.
I would never have to ask for subs ever again. Just 350 million Americans. What's going on? I like it. I like the Super Bowl being, Monday after the Super Bowl being a holiday. That's probably the best one. I'm trying to think of other, pandering picks like that. I'm going to go with that one. I might steal Josh's. I like that one a lot. We got Wheel Spin. Now, if we don't get any more Super Chats, we will sign off here. We're at $52, so get to like 75. That'd be pretty dope if you ask me. But we got a shot fund still on the wheel. So is it 2 wheel spins for Josh's Super Chats?
Two for Josh.
2 for Josh. I'm not nervous about the first.
The second one is going to get dangerous.
62% nervous for the second. AFX Apocalypse.
So you're in the
I was never nervous.
First.
Shay will come on the show one day. Don't worry. We work in a very tight ship security building. You got to get a pass and everything. And I'm pretty lazy. So once I get across that hurdle, we'll make it happen.
All right,
okay, here we go.
2.
62% nervous for this one.
I would be nervous too. Oh, you're good.
It's down to 20. It's down to 5. It's 0.
I mean, that one was probably the least close one of the day.
Absolutely.
I mean,
never
as soon as
in
this first
doubt.
spin happened, you knew for a fact there was no chance.
So, Tennessee is already making that happen and making the day after the Super Bowl a holiday. Should look into it. Love the Volunteer State. Spent 4 great years there. Tennessee, underrated state. Highly underrated state. Here's the off-season Super Chat menu. If you enjoy the free content, you enjoy the live show, you want to interact a bit more, Super Chats are a great way to do that. Every Super Chat, we spin that wheel, and if it lands on the shot fund, we're knocking one out. $2, give me your draft or free agent target. $5, we do the Here We Go Brownies chant. $10, it's the Dog Bowl. And $50, I've got a player comp waiting for you. Rolly, you got something you wanted to add? All right, I thought you were unmuting yourself to join the conversation. Okay, AFX Apocalypse. Who's the Commanders host from Chat Sports when it was still active? From Chat Sports history here, it was a collection of people, not one individual, although there is talk of bringing it back from the dead this offseason, and they have tasked producer Nick Rowley and I potentially with that. Potentially. It'll be interesting. I'm not really keen on the Commanders as a team to talk about.
If you guys are going to watch the Commanders Chat Sports channel, when it gets potentially launched, you'll know if I have a hand in it, because the first video will be why Sam Howell will be the best quarterback in the NFL in the next 2 years. So if the video has anything to do with Sam Howell, just know Rowley has.
He's got fingerprints all over it. I think with Drake May and Sam Howell, like I don't know what it is about the UNC offense. They sound great the year before they get drafted. And then their actual draft year, it's always underwhelming.
Well, the funny thing about Sam Howell is that he was a 3-year starter before going. And his best year was his freshman year. He stayed similar his sophomore year, and then junior year he wasn't as good, but 80% of the offense also left, so it was pretty tough.
We got a question coming in from Jenkins Gaming. I'll read it out loud. If we don't get a super chat by the time we're done answering it, we'll call it a day for us on the show here. But I think that's kind of interesting, so we'll discuss it with the group. I know this is a Browns talk, but I want to talk about Ohio State. Shroud heard. Okay, sorry, I just got broken English here. Shroud heard. Ohio State Shroud heard rumors today. Whatever. Dallas was trading Dak for 2 first-rounders and a something in 24. Yeah, there's some key articles of the sentence missing, but I think the nuts and bolts of it is Cowboys trading Dak to go draft Shroud, CJ Shroud. They gave him a big contract. They can't move on this year from it. It's too much. Most likely is my answer.
I also don't know why the Texans would do that.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't say Texans. I thought you did. I said.
No,
Sorry.
I just don't think Dallas has the ammunition to get up. I mean, they do. If they took their first from this year, that 24, first for next year, and a second, they could get to CJ Stroud at 2. But
My question,
the Texans don't want those picks. They want a quarterback.
So here's the thing. If the Texans...
I've got one way for the Texans to do this, actually.
If it was the Texans...
Yeah.
Would the Texans just trade the number 2 pick straight up for Dak Prescott?
No, they wouldn't.
You don't think they would?
I don't think they would. The only way I see the Texans trading out of this pick is if they believe that CJ Stroud is not the guy. If they just don't think he is a NFL long-term superstar franchise quarterback, right? And they go, you know what? I know everyone wants the answer for quarterback this year. It's not here. Let's stockpile some picks and get ready to go after it next year, rather than forcing the pick, which happens pretty often where teams are like, well, we need a quarterback. Is he the guy? I don't know, but I don't think I'll have a job next year to draft another quarterback if this one doesn't work out. So that's the only way I see it. I like CJ Stroud, though. I think he will be a good pick for whatever team takes him. So, Dak, I used to be a Dak guy. I'm out on him. I don't care what the stats say. Eyeball test. No bueno.
Eye test, baby.
Eye test, exactly.
Live and die. Mm-hmm. Live and die with the eyes.
That is going to do it for us on today's show. And I'll put 60 seconds on the clock. If we get a super chat in the next 60 seconds, we'll banter for a little bit longer. But if not, we'll call it. Ooh, I got Soul Train tweeting at me. We got sources. Who's got source? Sources or sauces? Yeah, AFX Apocalypse. Bring Texans report back. I think one of my first days at Chat Sports, I did a Texans 90-second, no, not 90, like 2-minute, 3-minute video. 3-minute video. Then the channel's quickly put to bed, defunct, dead. But maybe, although I'm all channeled up. No more for me. I'll take my current serving
AFX
right
has
now.
mentioned.
AFX has been in some Chat Sports meetings.
Yeah, watching some Falcons. You watched today's Falcons video, AFX?
The GOAT Watts and Go Vols. I know you come from a place of love with that. Yeah, Jenkins, it's okay. I got typos all the time, so I was just trying to best understand what you were asking. But at the end of the day, no. I don't see a way CJ Stroud ends up on the Cowboys. I think they like Dak. Oh, Josh, look at that.
He will
59.81
at
the buzzer. Let's go.
Little onions.
This will be the last super chat unless someone super chats by the time we're done reading it. Bears trading Fields or first pick since this regime didn't draft him. May want to start over with all that cap space / draft capital, thinking Arizona Cardinals. They're not. I don't think they trade Fields. I got a couple of reasons why I don't think they should. Plus, I don't think it makes sense. You trade Justin Fields, so then you're drafting a quarterback at 1. That quarterback is going to step into a situation which Justin Fields just went through that had no resources around him, and he's going to sink as well, most likely. And you'll be back at the same spot in a year or two. Two, they like Justin Fields. Fields is a star in the making after what we saw in 2022. I don't think it makes sense. I get that the regime didn't draft him, so he's not completely tied to him, but they inherited an awesome quarterback. I think they're going to stick with him. As for the cap space, they've got like nearly $100 million to spend. Here's my issue. On who? There's no good wide receivers. There's some good defensive linemen. They could get Yannick Ngakoue. They could get Duron Payne. But there's not a ton of guys on offense to go out and spend on. So I think they stick with Justin Fields. If I was Chicago, I move from 1 to 4. Whoever you want between Jalen Carter and Will Anderson, one of those two will be there at 4. Because quarterback will go 1 and 2. Anderson or Carter will go 3. You get your guy potentially a 50-50 chance at 4 when you could have had him at 1, but instead you get a whole bunch of picks instead. So that seems to me like the smartest move. We'll spin the wheel, and then we'll sign off out of here as we get another super chat. This could be the last wheel spin for Josh Miller. I'm going to put my nervousness level at a 55. Never in doubt. Never in doubt. Let's go. Let's go. There we go. Bingo. All right. That is going to do it for us on today's show. For everyone that super chatted, for everyone that took time out of their day off and joined us here, thank you guys so much. You know my favorite part of the week is kicking it with you all, talking Brownies, talking NFL, talking ball. So thank you so much for joining the live show. We're going to sign off, and I'm going to see you guys throughout the week before I go off to London with more Browns content. But producer Nick Roy, thank you for stepping into the hot seat. We'll see you guys later with more Browns news and rumors.